all of you are listening to us and seeing us, please let us know who you are, where you're dialing from, because our guests as well wants to know that hopefully we're not alone in the room. I know we are not alone, but I hope everybody else will see. So if you are here, join us and let us know where you are in the chat and there so we could bring you over. And again, as I always said, it's a way to stand out. If you want everybody to know, to remember you, here's an opportunity for you for free to stand out next to our authentic guest of today. So thanks, David. This episode, the title, as you already saw, Epiphany for Finding Your Way. Wow, what a title. I mean, mouthful of, we're going to explain more, as you know. But again, I want to start with a question to all of you, our viewers. Have you ever completely changed your mind about something? Or maybe you had a light bulb, moment where you realize the solution to a problem you have been contemplating for a while? That's epiphany. See, that's in what we said is intuitive grasp of reality through something usually simple or and striking. That's actually epiphany. Whether it's your personal or professional life, epiphanies can transform your life. And we can use these profound realizations really to move forward in our development and probably really ourselves to a higher level of living and clarity. Do you agree, David?
Absolutely. The truth is that when I think back on my own life, the probably the greatest epiphany is realizing, that my best friend, who's now my wife, is exactly what should happen. Right. That was that epiphany moment was realizing, that the relationship that I had, that's what I wanted in a spouse, not just a best friend. And so, it's certainly something that, one of the things that I have in common with our guest today is that both of us, around the time that we were chair of the section, married off a daughter. And so this past June, I had a chance to marry off my daughter. I actually got to be the rabbi who performed the service, so it was really amazing. But that recognition is something that I've passed on to my children, is to find somebody that they really find is not only the love and attractive aspect of it, but is really somebody who's their soulmate and really going to be something more. And I think that was certainly probably the biggest epiphany moment that I can think about. How about in your life, Itzik? What
I
epiphany?
mean, you obliged me to bring my family as well. So here you go. Also, my wife. I mean, I put in my bar mitzvah when I was 13 years old in Note in Jerusalem in the Wailing Wall, and I asked for blue eyes wife because I didn't want the Israeli girl that I lived in, and I was thinking about my family in the U.S. because I want an American lady, but I got a lady from Holland. That's why I live in Holland. So, that's my one, And I always said, what you wish is that you get. So be careful what you wish in your life. So
100%. You got to be careful what you wish for.
So here we go. So you see, working toward a goal can be, for a lot of us, can be tedious, but whether it's something you want to accomplish in your professional life or career, it doesn't matter. Often the only way to progress is really to start small and, away at it, little by little. But be on the lookout for those light bulb moments. That's what you have to do because it's your subconscious trying to nudge you toward what you are supposed to do and what you should become. Now, can a single epiphany transform your life or career? Can one thought which occurs to you suddenly change your life or career trajectory? You better believe it. When your epiphany hits you, it will transform you. And that's the reason for this special session. And we have the honor to have the episode with Advocate Joe Raia, which a lot of you didn't know maybe the story, and you're going to find it the first time, although you know him for a long time, because he's absolutely amazing member of the American Bar Association International Law Section. And you're going to get new insight how you can intentionally use epiphanies to find your way to grow your career, your practice, and I always said, even your life. But before we invite Joe to join us, let us give you some highlights about Joe. And we just picked up things, so excuse us because it's a very long and impressive resume, but here we go. So Joe Raia is a partner of Gunster in Miami, specializing in business litigation and international law. He represents both foreign and domestic clients in complex cases involving commercial, trade, and investment issues across multiple jurisdictions. Joe has held significant positions, including chair of the American Bar Association International Law Section and the American Bar Association Section Officer Conference. He has worked with international NGOs, law societies, and participated in global projects on policy development. He also served on the ABA Rule of Law Initiative Board and represented the American Bar Association at the World Bank's Law Societies Compact. Additionally, Joe has contributed to the educator sector by addressing legal and regulatory challenges in rapidly growing Florida charter school arena. He's also involved in the Italy America Chamber of Commerce. We're going to hear soon about that as well, Southeast, and the International Advisory Committee of the Bacon Council in Miami-Dade County. And again, more you'll hear in this Inside for the Inside. Without further ado, let's bring Joe in, David. I think it's about time. And here we are.
Hello,
Joe. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you, my friends. It's so good to see you, and a privilege to hear your introduction and to be invited to participate in your program.
Amazing. So glad that you're here, Joe. One of the funny things is that if you go back, this is episode 7. So if you go back to our 6 first episodes, I think that you are named more frequently than anyone else when it comes to people saying what they appreciate or somebody that they appreciate within the ABA. You have had an impact on so many people's lives. On me, I was the chosen to be vice chair during the time that you were chair of the section. So, I feel a great sense of appreciation to you as well. And so many people find you so helpful as mentors, as a mentor for them. And, but at the same time, we, notwithstanding the fact that we both go back to the 2000 and noughts in our involvement in the section, I didn't know, your story. So I'm excited to make sure that everybody gets a chance to hear it. Now, we titled, as Itzik mentioned, this session as, the epiphany of finding your way. And in our background conversation, you mentioned a number of different moments of epiphany. And I really loved hearing how, even since college, these epiphanies help you become the international lawyer that you are today. And so if you can share with our audience some of these epiphanies, that'd be amazing.
Thank you, David. And I especially liked Itzik's reference to the light bulb moment, because that gives you a graphic understanding of what happened. And in the university, I was drawn to analysis, to evaluation, although I didn't know it at the time. So while I began the university studying things like psychology and philosophy, a friend, a colleague, recommended a course taught in the political science department on the U.S. Supreme Court. And this professor took us through a series of Supreme Court opinions, taught us how to brief them, analyze them, and discuss them. And the judicial process, identifying principles, governing principles, precedent, crafting the reasoning to get to an answer or to a decision, rooting the decision in higher values and virtues or principles, or even unstated principles. All of that, I was sold. That's what put me on the path to law school. After law school, I was privileged as a young lawyer to work for 2 eminent members of the criminal defense bar. One who was more of a scholar, appellate lawyer, although he tried cases. He really made his reputation in so many ways with the quality of his legal analysis, his written work, and creativity in written work. And then I had an opportunity to work for probably the best trial lawyer I've ever seen, with a national reputation, a man who handled perhaps 3 cases or 4 cases a year so that he could devote all of his time and attention to his work. And again, incredible preparation, knowledge of the law, knowledge of the facts, looking for the facts. But his trial presence, his presence in court had a lasting effect on me. I felt, if you're familiar with the psychological term of imprinting between, like the mother duck and the little ducklings, I felt like I was being imprinted, watching him stand up in court and address the court with confidence and control and command, things that I always tried to emulate, perhaps to a fault at times. Also, ethics. He would tell me, if you have to ask, is it ethical? It probably isn't. And if it's not ethical, you can't do it. Don't do it. Don't even think about it. And he put it in form, how can you represent a client? How can you protect a client if you can't protect yourself? And even for years, other people who knew this lawyer, and his name was James J. Hogan, we would oftentimes say, what would James J. do in this circumstance? And that stayed with me for my career. And I'm grateful for that kind of mentorship. But again, the light bulb going off. This is how we can do it. This is how you can do it. This is what I think works for me.
Thank you very much, Joe, for this inspiring story. And I know more to come. Again, stay with us because this is more really interesting thing coming in. But I mean, I can share that for me, one concept that continues to spark curiosity and fascination is the idea of Epiphany, the year from Joe, saying that serving as really as catalyst for inner transformation, this sudden realization or profound insight that truly alter, of course, the course of our life and lead really to lasting change from within. So fascinating. But again, it's not only about that, but let's discuss another ingredient that may have influenced these epiphany moments that many of us forget and do not use in developing our career or practice. And I refer to tradition, culture, heritage, right? So in searching online, Joe, we found that you remain involved with your Italian heritage. And it's not a secret if you don't, it's all over there. So we would like to ask you if you could allow us to share with us the epiphany you had that helped you land some of your major clients and matters based on that heritage, Italian heritage.
Well, I grew up knowing great-grandparents and grandparents who immigrated from southern Italy. And so we grew up in a household thinking we were Italian. And the focus on family, food, culture, celebration, and the like was strongly ingrained in me. And as a young man living in Miami without family, far away from home and without family, I was naturally attracted to the Italian community to find that kind of home away from home. And at the same time that this began, Italian institutions grew up in Miami. A formal consulate was opened with real diplomats and a real staff and a mission to promote the Italian brand and to provide services for Italian people who were living abroad. The Italian Trade Commission was here. And then the Italy-America Chamber of Commerce, which was part of a network, an international network of chambers of commerce. And there I met people who became not just friends, but best friends, and relationships who have sustained until now. And I didn't realize it at the time, but this was networking too. And through this, I was able to do work with not only small shops looking to develop a new business or someone that wanted to open a gelato shop or whatever, but met real brands in the fashion industry, in the food industry, and even more importantly, in the mechanical manufacturing engineering concepts. And the Italian, we saw Italy become like the fourth or fifth or sixth largest gross national product in the EU and in the world. It just sort of explode during this time period. And so it was an opportunity to make friends and develop both personal relationships, but professional relationships as well that continue today.
Great. I just want to, in the meantime, say thank you to those who are joining us and let us know you are here with us. We appreciate it. And I hope you listen carefully to this story, the amazing story Joe shared with us. So thank you very much, Joe, for that. Because it's another example, great example, that if you want to transform your career, you should seek the epiphany that leads you there. In fact, I believe there is a way about epiphanies. They come to you when you are ready for them. So are you ready for them? That's why I'm asking our audience. Are you ready for your epiphany? Because otherwise they will never reach you. Again, if you have any questions for Joe during the session, also put it in the chat. And if you're joining right now, we are live and we want you with us. Please share it as well in the chat. We are here with Joe Raia talking about epiphany for finding your way. And I give it back to you, David.
Yeah, well, I want to just highlight one of the epiphanies that I am just having now is how the best networking that we can do is when it's not networking. When it's not networking, you're making friends, you're making connections, you're being yourself as a human being, and that is one of the things that I really think that that's an opportunity for an epiphany, not just for me, but for our entire audience. And so, in that regard, maybe we can transition, Joe, to just tell us a little bit about how you came to the American Bar Association International Law section and the epiphany that you had while there. I think it was Miami in 2004. So, tell us about that epiphany, because again, it's really remarkable how, throughout our lives, we have these, you've actually thought about how moments have changed. Often the moments will change us, but we don't really think about it. And you really are providing us an opportunity to sort of reflect back in a way that I think is really special. So share with us a little bit about that moment in 2004.
Well, in 2004, Deborah Enix Ross was chair of the section and did a program at the Biltmore Hotel here in Miami. And when I saw the agenda, the substantive programming that was being put on was matching the work that I was doing as a lawyer for people from Latin America, from the Caribbean, from Europe. And I had never been to a conference before. I'd taken CLE. I always got my CLE, but never went to a conference that attracted people from all over the world. And it was simply almost overwhelming to see and be connected with lawyers that were a microcosm of the world, with lawyers from Europe, Latin America, Caribbean, the UK, Canada, the US. The energy in the room and the substantive information being shared, I really was hooked on the conference. That did a couple of things. It made me realize my practice matched the organization. It matched the section, and that it gave me permission to refer to myself as an international lawyer, because before that, I thought I was a business lawyer, a commercial litigator in Miami. Only in Miami, whatever comes in the door probably came from another part of the world. And so you needed to be prepared to handle those issues. Thankfully, I was, and the practice grew. The section was just I still have vivid memories of different parts of that conference, and met people who are still friends today, people in the section that are still friends today, and became mentors for me throughout my journey with the section.
Wow. It's really quite remarkable to think about. And, that you were already an international lawyer, and yet you didn't view yourself that way. And so, it really, gave you permission, so to speak, exactly, to call yourself. That's really quite remarkable. And I think, what would you say to others who are thinking about, getting involved in the international law section from that perspective?
That what I would say is the section gave me one focus on this notion of who I am as a lawyer in my profession. One, two, it provided substantive information and helped me continue to grow professionally in my knowledge of the subject matter in areas that I may not have practiced in, so I might not have been aware of. And then also that it was okay to care about higher values, that you can be a functioning, profitable lawyer and care about the rule of law, to care about professional values, to devote time to those issues, because it's not only part of our responsibility, but it's good for us. It helps us to feel good, and also, I believe, makes us better lawyers. So that's what the section meant to me, and that's what I would share with anyone who would think about looking for a professional home. A professional home for them both, from all aspects of practice development and professional development.
It's wonderful to find a place that nourishes both the one's desire for knowledge and one's desire to make a difference in the world.
And that's the DNA of I think every member of the section. People drop in and may drop out, but everyone who finds a home in the section, that is our DNA. What I've described, it's collegial, it's forward thinking, it's engaged, it's wanting to learn more, it's knowing that we do more together and go farther together than alone.
Well, those reasons are all why I referenced as the theme of the year that I'm serving as chair as joy, because all of those things, I think, bring joy to our life. And so really, thank you, Joe, for highlighting and raising up those ideas and concepts. I think that's something that we can all take, and we should find those aspects wherever we can find them. Hopefully people will find them in the international law section, but they're important aspects that nourish us and bring joy to our lives. So I'll take it, send it back to you, Itzik.
And I just wanted to add to be more direct than both of you, I think, because I'm the youngest one who I joined not long ago. But I use the word that Joe used. I mean, when you join the international law section, then you get the permission to call yourself an international lawyer. I mean, we know a lot of lawyers. We all three of us know, been a lot in business. A lot of people calling themselves international lawyer and hoping maybe now people send in business. It hasn't worked this way. Let's be overcrowded like Joe with so much business that you are obliged. You have no other choice to call yourself an international lawyer. I mean, that's where the business come in. So hope does not never been a strategy. Don't hope. Join the international community. You get an international. You would like to call yourself an international lawyer. That's how it works. I mean, that's
absolutely.
So, I mean, again, with those of you joining us, we're still live. We are here with Joe Raia speaking on Epiphany for finding your way. And again, we are glad you all are here. And I know you're taking your time. So I hope you're enjoying as much as we are. And every time learning again. And again, feel free to ask your question, because we're almost at the end of our session. So if you want any question, now it's time to ask it. And I appreciate, again, that you're all here with us, still sticking live, and do it in the chat box. Now, we came to our attention switch moment, as you all know, a good opportunity to give attention, as we all love to do, to the people who deserve it within the American Bar Association, International Law Section, global community. So here's the question for you, Joe, and I hope you're prepared for that. Who are the 2 or 3 people that you want to thank within the ABA International Law Section community, and why? And please don't include David or anybody else here. You can thank yourself if you want.
It's simply, having been chair of the section, it's not possible to thank everybody for all the good work that everybody did, committees and leadership. But sticking with our Epiphany light bulb moments, in 2004, when I went to that first conference, I met Stephen Richmond, who recruited me into the litigation committee and served as a friend and mentor to this day. He's a former section chair. He encouraged me to do that. He was a mentor during my term as chair, and now I'm going into the House, and he's an experienced delegate for the section at the House, and he's still mentoring me. I also want to mention 3 women. Lisa Savitt and Sarah Sanford were back-to-back chairs, and as Lisa was going into her term as chair, I remember she asked me to co-chair the upcoming leadership retreat in Boston with Lisa Ryan. But Sarah was there, and Sarah and Lisa have been so good to me and very supportive, and gave me a different way of looking at how to handle meetings, how to handle contentious situations or potentially contentious situations, and I'm very much indebted to them. And Lisa Ryan, who we did co-chair that leadership retreat and have collaborated on so many things, really showed me how to pay attention to section work and give it the same level of excellence and detail you would for a client. And all 3 of them are just wonderful leaders and better friends.
Great.
Awesome.
And I hope you listen to it now or in the replay. Again, David, you wanted to say something because you
Well,
probably know them all.
I do know them all. They're all certainly worthy of thanks and have had a big impact on my life as well. I'll just note that probably my earliest memory of sort of seeing you as a leader, Joe, of the section was really at that Boston leadership retreat, and your leadership of sort of the idea creation. We were trying to come up with ideas of how we can improve the section, and really highlighted, and you could tell at that moment that you were on a path for greater things within the section. So, that is really a great moment in the history of the section, from a trajectory perspective, seeing, your star rise, and similarly with Lisa Ryan as well. So, I mean, it's just really amazing to think back. And it was around that time that Lisa and I co-chaired the annual conference in New York, and so exactly. So it was really a really special time within the section for me. So
that was where we had the closing party in the museum, with the Egyptian exhibit.
Correct. Exactly.
That was incredible. Absolutely remarkable event.
And it's interesting in raising that, it sort of highlights that one of the fun things, one of the aspects of joy that you get within the section is not just all the people that we meet, etc., but it also involves the activities that we engage in as well. And doing that with people that you care about, that you're friendly with, makes sure that those memories stay with you for a long time. So really very, very special opportunity.
It's
So
true.
thanks so much.
Thank you very much, both. I mean, those who still listen to us, here's a tip for all of you there. Now, remember, you see that if you listen to the chat between Joe and David, you can see that people don't care what you said. People don't care what you did. People care how you make them feel. That's the memories that last forever. So next time you organize anything, remember that, because that's part of your epiphany moment. Again, that's the last time for you to ask questions. If you have questions, now it's the time, because we're almost at the end. Because the epiphany for following your way, the title of this session, remind us that choosing a career path is not just a matter of picking up an occupation. It's about finding the perfect synergy between your inner talents, your learned skills, and the belief, the joy that David like to call of doing something you truly, truly love. And this episode aimed really to guide you and remind you, or remind each of one of us, to discover and pursue a career that you love, a career that resonates with your abilities, with preferences and craft, and overwhelmingly satisfying professional life. Because otherwise, it'll be too late. Life will be disappear, and you didn't do what you're supposed to do. And Joe, our guest, is a true example of it, as you can see. And there's so much more. I'm sure next time you're meeting him face to face, there's so many more stories to share. I know, Joe, you have a lot of them, and we could not put them all in our show. But we want to thank you, Joe. There's been, again, great honor and absolutely fabulous session with you. Thank you very, very much for that.
Thank you, my friends. It's been a pleasure.
Awesome having you here.
So don't leave us, because we're going to stay behind Joe, and we're going to talk behind Joe. We stay only David and myself in the room. So, David,
Exactly.
what is your impression?
First of all, what a wonderful person, and a pleasure to have a conversation with. You can see why he was a phenomenal chair of the section, chair of the section officers committee. Really, that just comes across, and so genuine. The things that I took away, most importantly, be open to those epiphany moments, be open to finding something that you love. Maybe it's even someone that you love, and then learning from everyone. Joe took advice about the class that he was going to take. That didn't have to happen. He was open to the suggestion. At the class, he realized law is a calling for him, allowed himself to learn from that. Then both in working for somebody who is more academic and somebody who is more, a courtroom focused, he was able to take elements of each and see them for who they are and to benefit from them. learning from everyone, that's the mark of a truly wise person. That's and it's not just me that's saying that. That's a long time teaching from the Talmud. And then, combining all of those different lessons to find your own path. When I think about my practice as an international M&A antitrust lawyer, what I was able to do was take different lessons from the different partners at Wachtell Lipton and become an element of each of them and become my own person and be the lawyer that I wanted to be. Remember that, and you saw that in what Joe has accomplished. And of course, the final thing is to be yourself. Joe is certainly a unique person that and comes across, as so genuine, and that's what makes him so appealing. And so those were the 4 things that I took away. I'm sure you got other things.
But no, I definitely think what you said, absolutely thing. But I think I want to ask actually a different thing. I mean, I think the session with Joe, make me ask actually our viewers 2 questions. The first one is, and the question I want to address to each of you listening to us is, what have been your greatest personal epiphanies? And what were the turning point that changed your career or even your life? Think about it a second. Now, I don't know if you know, but there's a book called Interpretive Biography from 1989 written by Dr. Norman Denzing. And he actually defined epiphanies as interactional moments and experiences which leave marks on people's life. That's how you define it. But he actually identified 4 types of epiphany. The major epiphany, which is the one big event that touches every fabric of your personal life. And when I'm saying it, I'm sure a lot of you thinking about your case. In my case, it was, those of you know me, I survived from a terrorist attack in 1996. But a lot of you have those moments. Number 2, or second sort of epiphanies, is cumulative epiphany. This is a representative event that marks a reaction of experiences that have been going on over a long period of time. And it's exactly what Joe explained to us. But there's a sort of different sort of epiphany. The third sort is minor epiphanies. The event may be small, but it serves as symbol really to eliminate a larger issue in a life or career. Again, all of us have those examples. And the last one is the retrospective epiphany. Sometimes, we don't recognize something significant until long after it occurs. In later, reliving the experiences, we really assign a meaning to it. And that's where it turned to become epiphany in our life. So I'm sure each of you experienced part or all of these type of epiphanies in your life, right? So take your time and think, what have you been the interaction, the conversation, the people or events that change the direction of your life? And make a personal inventory of these, because that's a great place to start to understand the epiphany that help you find your way in your career. And then you can replicate intentionally those things or call it into your life. In fact, David, reflecting to all the wonderful episodes we had until today, we did together with our standout. If you think about it, each one of them, we can identify this epiphany moment in our guest's life. And that's exactly where it's beautifully connected to all of the other sessions. So I hope you agree about that.
Oh, I absolutely agree. I can even think back and name right off the top, several of those epiphany moments. So, but I'm going to let our audience find them if they haven't had a chance to watch them. Really, it's truly an opportunity to help you find your own epiphany and to look back on your own life and find those moments that really make a difference. Because not only will it help you understand yourself better, but to take a page out of Itzik's book and the fact that we have people ask, say thank you. It also will give you an opportunity to say thank you and reconnect in a way deeper way with somebody that facilitated one of those epiphanies for you. And so don't miss that opportunity. It's really something special that you can create for yourself.
Great. So now, friends, it's time to take action and implement what you've learned in this session. By the way, if you want to be part of our next session in the coming months, please connect with David, myself, or even with Angela. Let us know you want to be a guest. I will be happy to discuss this opportunity and see how can we help that hear your standout story. Again, we have been here with Joe Raia, He's a top litigation lawyer, wonderful member of support of the American Bar Association International Law Section. And as you see, as David said before, a genuine human being. That's all about it. Don't wait. Be right now yourself. You'll be a wonderful life afterwards. Again, I want to thank you, David. I have to do it every single time because I feel like this for another joyful episode full of new insight, ideas, and joyful moment around it. So thank you very much for that, David.
Oh, thank you. Itzik. The joy goes both ways. So,
and David and myself want to thank each one of you that stayed with us till the end, enjoying it. I hope you got some input and some insights and some practical strategies. Now go implement it. And until next time, I mean, we hope to see you next time, even face to face. But until our next episode, bye for now, everybody, and thanks for joining us.